Hi, Court.
And hello, B-Critics fam. Welcome to another episode of the B-Critics podcast.
The Harry Potter era continues with the 6th installment of the Harry Potter movies.
Yes, it does. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram to stay up to date on everything.
You can find us at B-Critics Podcast on pretty much everything.
Okay, enough of the boring stuff. I think it's time to get talking about Harry Potter.
I'm here for it all, except before we do that, let's check in on the B-Critics Hogwarts House
We're never going to
tournament.
get there.
So in first place, if you tuned in last week, you already know this, but we're just going to rehash real quick. In first place, we've got Gryffindor, 315 points, squeaking up there. In second place, we've got Hufflepuff.
Squeaking.
Yeah, you squeaked in last minute.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Second place, we have Hufflepuff with 245 points. In third place, Ravenclaw with 190. And sadly, Slytherin's in last with 135.
Let them stay down there. They deserve it.
As a reminder, you can earn points for your house by commenting on this episode on YouTube and all of our other episodes, and tell us what house you're in, and you'll get some points. But only do it once.
Other houses. Only Gryffindors comment, please.
Oh, don't listen to that.
Okay.
We want love from all of you, okay?
We like all the houses, even Slytherin, even Hufflepuff.
Even Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff is everyone's favorite. Don't lie.
Okay. This week's movie is, if you haven't guessed it by now, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. My favorite book in the series. And definitely not my favorite movie in the series.
Oof. Oof.
Yikes.
Yikes. Yeah. That's okay.
We'll talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. But first, I'm going to tell you just a quick little here's what the movie is in case you need a refresher. So, times are dark and the wizarding world is unsafe. Meanwhile, the Order of the Phoenix is under attack. The Death Eaters are getting stronger, and Malfoy is up to something.
That he is.
Harry befriends the new potions teacher, Professor Slughorn, and through him uncovers the darkest secret yet. Voldemort has split his soul into not one, not two, but 7 Horcruxes.
Well, actually, at this point, he only thinks there's 6 Horcruxes. Sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
Well, okay. 6 Horcruxes.
Sorry.
Making him essentially invincible. Harry and Dumbledore set out on an incredible adventure to collect the Dark Lord's Horcruxes, starting with the Locket of Salazar Slytherin. But Dumbledore's time on this adventure is cut short. You see, Voldemort has been planning Dumbledore's demise at the hands of none other than Draco Malfoy. Told you he was up to something. Will Draco have the nerve to commit this heinous crime? Maybe the Half-Blood Prince can tell us.
Okay, so I have a couple comments. It's 6 Horcruxes because he split his soul 7 times. So he himself is the 7th. He doesn't know about Harry. So Harry is the 7th Horcrux that nobody knows about at this point in the story.
Well, I mean, himself is a Horcrux, right?
No, he's himself. So he has 6 Horcruxes. Okay.
I don't understand. Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. His soul is split into 7 pieces, is what he thinks. And then you spelled Draco with a K.
I do it on every single one of these. You've never corrected it.
I've never read it. I've never sat here and like read this with you before, and I did this time. Yeah. So, and I also am unsure that locket is actually Salazar Slytherin's.
I googled
locket.
it. Google told me it was.
Okay. That's fine. It's not important. Beautiful description. I loved it. Times are dark and Malfoy is definitely up to something.
I wanted to say up to something in Snape's voice, but up to something. But I couldn't like get into it at the time. So
it's fine.
There, I just did it.
Okay. So this movie is 2 hours and 33 minutes of runtime.
It was very long.
It came out in 2009. And this is the one that was supposed to come out in 2008, and then they pushed it to the summer of 2009.
Yeah, a
Isn't
lot of
that
people
right?
were upset about that.
Yeah, I do remember that. The budget was huge at $250 million.
That's insane. I can't even, like, fathom that much money.
I can, but, like, it's crazy. I mean, you're telling me you're gonna give me
That's insane.
$250 million. I will fathom that, but the the box office wasn't, like, any higher than, like, any of the other ones. It was $934 million, which is
Still
still
making money. Still
making
making stupid money.
a ton of profit, I will say.
And, like, right around this time is when they built Harry Potter World, right? So they started making money in
Yeah,
other ways. So this was more like
yeah.
marketing for Harry Potter World.
Well, and, like, these box offices too, like, these movies are still making money, like, so much money. They're living on HBO Max, just
Mhm.
cranking away. Okay.
And people who buy the, like, hard copies of stuff, like,
Oh,
still.
yeah.
The books, the movies, the soundtracks, so much money.
I bought a Harry Potter book last week. Okay. The director is yet again Mr. David Yates.
Mhm. He finishes out the series, doesn't he? He
Yeah.
did all the
Yeah,
last 4 of them.
yeah, he does. Then we've got a score by Nicholas Hooper,
Mhm.
who did another score, right? Didn't he do the last one?
Oh, I have no idea.
I can't remember,
I'm really
but
not great with names unless I see it, like, multiple times.
I think I remember his name. And then Alistair King also was involved in the score.
Yeah,
IDK.
sure. Great score.
Okay. And then it was fine. And then we've got but they do in the score, I will mention Hedwig's theme, which is one of John Williams' pieces,
Mhm.
continues in like every single
I love
movie.
Hedwig.
So like Nicholas Hooper has some kind of version of that
Mhm.
theme song as well that makes it in. That's like the iconic Harry Potter music that like you
Yeah.
think of every time you watch.
Mhm.
Then we have some additional notable cast members in this one.
Some
So
new
we've got
boys.
Jim Broadbent, who plays Professor Slughorn.
Mhm. I have something funny to say about Professor Slughorn just real
Okay.
quick because 'cause we're not gonna talk
Yeah.
too much about him, but, um, I don't know if you noticed this, and if anyone's read the books, I'm sure you noticed, but he never refers to Ron as his own name.
Yeah.
He just calls him something
Wallenby.
that starts with R. Every time
Yeah.
it's something different.
And his last name is always something random with a
Yeah.
W. Yeah.
Yeah, but at
Weaselby.
one point and this is in the book, he calls him Rupert,
Oh,
and it's
that's
funny that Rupert
fun.
Grint plays Ron.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that.
That was my Slughorn fact. That's pretty much the most exciting thing about him.
Okay. I would probably agree with that statement. Okay, so now we've got 2 new actors that play Tom Riddle, like a young
Uh-huh.
Tom Riddle.
Yeah.
So, Christian Coulson, I actually read that he wanted to come back, but they were like, "Nah, man, you're 30 years old. Like, you can't come
Get
back
outta
and play
here.
teenage
You're
Tom
too
Riddle."
old.
So we got 2
I
new
love that.
actors portrayed him.
Uh-huh.
And this is like my favorite fun fact that I learned
Mhm.
yesterday, and it's this hero finds Tiffin. He's actually he played the young Tom Riddle, like, in the
The
orphanage,
child, yeah.
and he's actually the nephew of Ralph Fiennes.
I will point out Courtney is literally telling everyone this fact that she found out.
It's a
She's not
cool
joking when
fact.
she says she's excited about it. I've seen it in, like, multiple times now, so
Multiple group chats. Yes. Yes, it exists. Well, it's a cool fact, and I feel like that kid
It
does a
is
good
cool.
job of, like, encapsulating.
Mhm.
I read that, David Yates liked him because he said he could, like, read the darkness between the lines kinda thing, and, like, I felt that,
Yeah.
TBH. And
I
then
will say too, he didn't just get this because he's the nephew of Ralph Fiennes, he had to audition just like everybody else. So,
okay.
he really was the
I mean,
best one for the
I
part.
liked him. I've always liked that kid, so he's fine.
He looks like Ralph Fiennes, so
Well, they're related. That
it
would be
works
why.
great.
Okay,
Perfect.
and then we got this guy named Frank Delane, who's the teenager,
He
who
was
I think
fabulous.
oh, you think so?
Yeah, he scared me. I was like, "I don't like this guy." They were dark, both of them.
Oh, yeah, okay, he was
You didn't like
good.
him. You didn't like him.
Well, I didn't not like him, I just don't think he looked enough like Christian Coulson, so I didn't
Oh, neither of them did, but they look like Ralph Fiennes.
I think Hero Finds Tiffin did look like Christian Coulson, but I don't think
They also looked like they
maybe
had black hair, which threw me off.
I think he has black hair.
Mm-mm. The other guy
Mhm.
has like dark brown, light brown hair.
No, he had dark brown hair.
Christian Coulson?
I think so.
Mm-mm.
Maybe Christian Coulson was just improperly cast. I don't know.
He was beautiful though. They should have found people that looked like him because he made people fall in love with Voldemort.
Yeah, I saw this thing online that was like all the like villains that we like root for basically, and
Uh-huh.
I could imagine him being on there, but like up there with like God, who's the guy who plays he has a similar name. He plays Anakin Skywalker.
No, I am the wrong person to ask that, girly.
Oh, he's my literal
While you're
favorite, but
looking
I
that
can't
up,
even
I
remember.
will add too, at this point in the franchise, 6 different actors have played Voldemort.
Yes.
We've
Hayden
had a lot
Christensen.
of changing.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I mean, at least we like when it mattered, we got Ralph Fiennes because I feel like we
Mhm.
haven't had like really even a consistent face you need to look at. Like in the first one,
Mhm.
right? Like he was on the back of Quirrell's head, so like it didn't really matter who played him to be honest.
Mhm.
We also in this movie get Lavender Brown, who
Mhm.
they recast with Jessie Cave. And
Yeah.
I saw she beat out 7,000 other girls who auditioned.
That's insane. Okay, here's another thing I saw about that audition because I was like very intrigued by this. I was like, who's this girl? Like, what is this? And they brought like some of the people who auditioned got to come and do readings with Rupert and Emma. So they got
Mhm.
to like be in the same room as Ron and
Yeah.
Hermione. And I'm sure that in itself was like worth it. Like,
Yeah.
that feels like a bucket list item.
Yeah, it does. Okay, are we ready to get talking about the movie?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first thing I think is interesting is that the trio were all like very hesitant to return for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I think Emma Watson like almost legitimately did not come back.
Yeah, I think she was like the first one to say like I think I'm done.
Hmm.
And
We talked about this last movie too, I think.
we did talk about this. And she ultimately ended up staying cuz she was like, "Oh, I can't imagine anyone else playing Hermione," which like
Hmm.
same girl, but she wanted to go to
Had the voice
school,
she
which is
used.
very Hermione. She's like, "I just want to
Hmm.
go to school." And
She
she
did
ends
go
up
to
going to
school.
school later, which
Yeah,
is
she went to
fine.
Brown. I feel like this consumed their lives, and they
Yeah.
like really
They don't get to be
didn't.
normal people anymore. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows them. Everyone knows who they are.
Yeah, and Daniel Radcliffe also admitted to on this set of filming, like he came to set like drunk all the time.
I saw that, and that literally makes like my heart is hurting so much for him. I don't
Yeah,
understand why the studio didn't do something to help him when that was going on. Like, I
they
get that he
probably
was
didn't
18
realize.
and he can do whatever he wants, but like, there's no way they didn't know. If you're showing up intoxicated, like,
I'm sure some people knew, but I'm sure
I
he
don't
hid it
know.
from like the important people. Don't you
I don't
think?
know. I don't
I mean, it's
know.
kind of like one of those things too where like he probably sat on a pedestal a little bit. Like if you were just like a lonely old costume person and you saw it happening, like what were you going to do? Tattle on him?
I would. Daniel Radcliffe, if you're listening to this, I would have saved you.
Okay.
He's clean
Okay.
now. He doesn't drink anymore. He is sober.
Yeah,
So good for you,
I
Dan.
think I read he was clean since like 2010. So like after this movie pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
okay. And then the cinematography. Okay, but they did all return, so that's good. The
Yeah,
cin-
yeah, they do come back. Spoiler
all three of
alert.
them are in this movie. The cinematography, we've got this guy Bruno Del Bonell, who is the director of photography.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I wanted to talk about with this is just that like the movie's really dark,
Mm-hmm.
but I think in this one specifically, Warner Brothers asked them for there to be a little bit more color in the film.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
it's a
did see that.
little bit different than the last one.
I have a few things to say about this.
Okay.
So that was one of the things I had to say. Also, this was the only Harry Potter movie to be nominated for an Oscar for best cinematography,
That's
which
cool.
I can totally see. Like this one has a completely different feel and it feels more like artsy than some of
Yeah.
the last ones.
Yeah.
Um Also in this movie, they continue using practical effects. So they do use a lot of CGI. There's a lot of things that like they can't help it. They have to use CGI, but there's one specifically that I thought was really cool. And at one point you see the like knitting needles going on their own.
Yeah.
And they created a little machine that did
What?
that.
Not
So they
CGI?
didn't CGI it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And the little machine
Why?
is in the Warner Brothers headquarters. Like you can see it. It's
I
like on
love that
display.
though, because like that's the magic of these films, right? Is that they're
Yeah.
a really good mix of like practical
Mhm.
effects and CGI. And this one very clearly like amps up the CGI a lot.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Also, I did not count this, but I found this on the internet. So if you have to fact check me, that's fine. But the set designer, Stuart Craig,
mhm.
created over 80 sets for this film, just for this film.
Dang.
And Bonnie Wright, the girl who plays Ginny,
Mhm.
she is credited as being on the art team that designed and built the burrow.
Oh, that's cute. Give it
Yeah.
like a
So
little
she was
home
like,
touch.
yeah, she was like interested in like that part of production. And so they're like, all right. And so they like gave her a part and she got to help design and like set things up and everything.
Oh, well, maybe she should stick to that. That would be good for her.
Who knows what she's up to now? I don't.
Design and sets, maybe. Okay. Um,
That's it. That's all my facts.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the script decisions in this one because it is
Yeah.
my favorite book.
Mhm.
And one thing I read that was interesting is that the screenplay writer, Steve Kloves, he
Mhm.
actually wrote all of the movies except for Order of the Phoenix. So I didn't realize that because don't feel like completely consistent, but
They're not at all consistent
it,
in any
it
way, shape, or form.
it's just interesting, like how much influence I guess like a director can have on the direction that the movie or even the screenplay goes.
Yeah, weird.
Um,
Huh.
but a lot of book fans, including me, were very upset by some of the script decisions in this one.
Mhm.
Um, but I just want to like bring up one example because I can see how as a screenplay writer sometimes you have to make decisions in a movie to like
Mhm.
portray something differently because you can't do like a direct book to movie adaptation obviously. And so one that I thought was interesting was actually the very opening scene
Mhm.
of the movie. And so in the book, it's a conversation between the Muggle Prime Minister and the magical Prime Minister, the Minister of Magic. And so the Minister of Magic goes into the Muggle Prime Minister's office and is
This
like,
could literally all be happening right under our noses and we have no idea it's happening. If
"Yeah,
that was
yeah."
oh my god,
And
stop.
he's like, the Muggle Prime Minister is like, "I'm gonna go tell," and he's like, "What? You're gonna go tell who? Your media? They're gonna believe you that there's wizards?" It's like the best scene ever. And they talk in that
Oh my god.
discussion, they talk about all the things that in the movie is what they showed, like the bridge being broken down and like all this like disastrous stuff happening in the Muggle world. And the Minister of Magic is like, "Hey dude, like that was us. Like we did that to you. Like dark shit is happening." And so in the movie, they chose to instead of just having that be like a conversation,
Mhm.
which I think works really well in the book because like in a book form, you can't like unless you like describe out the action of what's happening, it doesn't make any sense for Harry or any other character to have witnessed those things. But in the
Mhm.
movie, you can take that direction and show those things happening.
Mhm.
So I don't know, I'm curious like what you think about that, if that was like a good movie decision or not, and or the listeners, honestly, like kind of food for thought.
Nah, that was bad. They should have shown the fun part. That was a
The
bad
discussion
choice.
with the prime minister, I
They
100%
also
agree.
that scene where they show, like, the bridge breaking and whatever, that
Mhm.
bridge was not built until after the movie was set. So, what was the point of that?
That's crazy. They wanted to, like, match with, like, the future London?
But it didn't. Well, because the movie is set in the 90s, and that bridge wasn't built until the year 2000.
That's a great point.
So they
These are
even,
supposed to
like,
be set in
screwed
the
that up.
90s. Okay. Well, that is the end of that entire discussion because I don't want this to turn into another Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, we
So,
really got into it in that one.
yeah, it's fine. And I think I've said my piece, and we'll talk about the movie now.
Okay, so we know y'all are eager to hear our 7 key magical plot points. Before we do that, we just want to say a huge thank you for tuning into this episode and all of our episodes. We wouldn't be doing this without y'all, and we just love that we have people listening and interacting with us, and we just really appreciate all of you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Like, seriously, I don't know if we could keep doing this if we didn't have people watching.
Mhm. You
But
keep us going.
this is our opportunity to ask y'all if you love what we're doing,
Mhm.
please pay us back by sharing the podcast with a friend
Mhm.
or subscribing, following on the platform of your choice if you aren't already. And then
Mhm.
definitely leave us ratings and reviews and drop comments and all the stuff. It really, really helps us.
Yeah, do all the things. Do them all. It
Hmm.
all of it helps. The more you interact with us, the more other people are going to find us and love us like you do. And that's so special. We're also on social media. You can find us pretty much everywhere. We're not on Facebook, but we're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at B-Critics Podcasts, literally everywhere. We've got a lot of fun content that we like to do, and we like to feature people too. So if you interact with us, shoot us some DMs. We'd love to feature you on our pages, or I don't know, maybe we'll collab.
Yeah, check
Who
us
knows where this
out.
might go?
Also, check out our new partner, Reload
Moving
app.
up in the world.
Yeah. So, Reload, it's this really cool app. It houses movie reviews, it
Mhm.
generates personalized movie recommendations, and it's really just like a place to build community. You can connect with friends or creators. We're on there, but
Mhm.
just people who love movies.
Yep.
So, go check out the app.
Yeah, one of the main features, like Courtney already said it, but it's like being able to keep up with what your friends are watching. So it'll recommend
Mhm.
stuff based on what everyone you're connected with is watching. And it tells you where you can find these things. You don't have to go like searching all over the place, which is on point because sometimes that can take a long time.
Mhm.
But if you're going to download the app, be sure to use our code. Our code is BCRIT, BCRIT. We'll link in the episode show notes. Again, that's the Reload app, and we will link it down below. But use our code, and that's BCRIT, BCRIT, B as in boy who lived, C as in Courtney, R as in Ron, I as in Imperious Curse, and T as in Taylor Swift.
You had to get T Swift in there, of course.
I will always bring up Taylor Swift.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I think it's time to get back into the episode.
Agreed.
All right. So it's time to go through our 7 key plot points of the
Mhm.
episode. All right. Number 1. And these are a little bit less ordered as usual because some of these plots kind of like interweave throughout the whole movie. So hopefully we can give us an opportunity to kind of like talk about all of them. Okay. Number 1. Draco is sworn in as a Death Eater, given the impossible task of murdering Dumbledore, the greatest sorcerer in the world, might I remind you. And Snape makes the unbreakable vow with Narcissa to protect Draco. Harry has a hunch about Malfoy, but no one, not even Lupin, nor the rest of the Order, believes him.
The whole thing hurts my heart. There's a lot of hurting my heart. I wrote Draco wrong all throughout this in my notes. Just now I can't unsee it. But everything about this movie hurts my heart. There's so many things that you're just like, these characters are never going to recover from this. Like, I think it was Kirby who said therapy for everyone in the wizarding world, and that is like so true.
Yes.
So true. But
Yes.
I felt like throughout the movie you kind of get this sense that Draco's like sneaking around, but you also get this sense that he is not fully committed to whatever he's been asked to do. So you don't know what it is at the beginning, right? They don't say like Draco has to kill Dumbledore. They just say like Draco has been tasked with this thing from the Dark Lord, and if he can't accomplish it, then Snape has to do it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you just get this feeling that he's not like 100% bought in. And that's what hurts so much is you're like, Draco,
Well,
why
he's not, right? He's
me?
doing it out of fear. So I think that's
Yeah.
like one of the key themes of this whole story is like doing things out of love rather than fear is like so much
Mm-hmm.
stronger because
Yeah.
exactly like you said, like doing them out of fear, you're not bought in, you're like half
Mm-hmm.
in.
Wait, also though, there's that whole scene where Harry like attacks Draco. Did that actually happen? Or was that like a dream?
Oh yeah, that actually happened.
Why did Harry not get in trouble? Why were points not deducted from Gryffindor? Like,
I think they
don't get
were.
it.
I think for sure they were. They just like for dramatic effect were like, just go.
Harry just walks away.
Just leave. How dare you use my own spells?
It's insane.
Yeah. But that was also kind of a mystery too, because like Harry couldn't figure out like how to help Malfoy.
Mm-hmm.
And Snape, who made that curse, also
Knew
made the
what
counter
Harry had
curse.
done.
So
Yeah.
he knew how to like fix him.
And he
But
realized, oh, that's the point where Snape realizes that Harry has his book.
well, I don't think he realizes that because spells get like I mean, he might have, but spells kind of get like passed around a little bit, like around the school. So
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that somebody else had found it and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Um but how do you think like Tom Felton portrayed Draco in this movie?
God, I love Tom Felton.
Mhm.
I love him so much. He's fabulous. Like, I thought he was so good. I mean, I don't know any difference. So,
Yeah, yeah,
however
no, I
he
thought he was
portrays
good.
it is the best. But he also, Tom Felton won 2 MTV Awards for Best Villain in 2010 and
Really?
2011. So,
So
I
for
think he
the
did pretty
next
good.
movie?
Well, the next one, it would have been the 2010 one would have been for this movie because it
Okay.
came out mid 2009, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way
So
the next movie comes out until at least 2011, right?
I have no idea.
Deathly
No, 2011,
Hallows.
2012.
2010. Deathly Hallows Part 1 came out in 2010.
That's
How is
insane.
it even
It
possible? I guess,
cranked that shit out.
well, but it's kind of a lie because this one was ready in November and they pushed it.
Yeah, they pushed like 8 months. I don't remember this, but waiting 8 extra months. I mean, that's what we're doing right now for all these movies that got pushed. We're having to wait for them.
I know, but there's not one that I'm like, "Oh my god, I have to see it." If there was, I would be like, "This is unwell." Like, imagine if you were, like, a really big Dune person and you were like, you know? That'd
Still
be
waiting.
crazy. That'd be crazy.
I know.
Okay. And then Snape makes the unbreakable vow at the beginning of the movie with Narcissa
Yeah.
and Bellatrix is there.
Hmm. That was intense. Like, as you're
Mhm.
watching that happen, you're like, Snape, what did you do?
Mhm. I think they do a good job in this movie of making you really confused about Snape
Hmm.
because he's like on both sides the whole time.
Alan Rickman. Oh my
Mhm.
God. He does
He's
such a good
so
job being
good.
like deadpan and like you never know like what his emotions are.
Mhm.
Even at the end, you couldn't tell.
Nope.
God.
Okay.
That
Plot
was
point.
intense.
Very, very intense. I Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about this plot point with it because I have one more thing to say, but I'm going to save it. Okay, number 2. Dumbledore is giving Harry private pensive lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry's 6th year at Hogwarts, Dumbledore starts giving Harry private lessons centered around journeys into the Pensive and Dumbledore's memories of a young Tom Riddle. The lessons
Mm-hmm.
start, however, with Harry accompanying Dumbledore to convince Professor Horace Slughorn to return to Hogwarts.
But Dumbledore doesn't play favorites, y'all.
That was never a thing that was said. He definitely plays favorites.
He has one favorite, yes.
I like the scene where they go to get Slughorn, and then like the effects they use to like kind of put the house back together is really cool. I think that's kind
Yeah,
of
that
part
was
of
really
why
cool.
this one won like cinematography awards, because all those things are so cool.
The way they like envisioned it and then like made it come to life is just really, really neat. Like, that's incredible.
Like even the little touches, like when Slughorn's like arm stays as an armchair and he goes like and he like kind of like gets it back to normal. It's so
Yeah.
silly. How do you feel about like the Harry Dumbledore interactions? Because like at the very beginning, you get this like really cringy, I think it's cringy interaction where like Harry's like at the train station and he's like eyeing the girl in the shop, and Dumbledore is like, she really was quite pretty. It's a shame.
I don't know. So J.K. Rowling has come out and said that she intended for Dumbledore to be gay, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's confusing. I don't understand what his character. I don't understand why that all happened.
Uh yeah, I think it was like totally unnecessary add to the
For the
story. So
plot.
I think what
Okay.
they were trying to do, because this is the the movie where Dumbledore and Harry like are supposed to get really close. And Dumbledore, takes Harry on all these journeys
Mhm.
in the Pensive, which I actually read that they originally had all of them from the book in the script and they cut a bunch of them out, which is insane to me that they had them in there and they cut them out. Like I can't, because they go and journey like a couple different places and basically explain like a lot more about Tom Riddle's childhood and his past.
Mhm.
Um, and so it would give you so much more context into like why he is the way he is and why he chose the Horcruxes that he did. But
And
regardless,
how Dumbledore knew where they were. Like
yes.
Dumbledore just like happened to know that he should go to this cave.
And like what Dumbledore has been doing for like the past several years basically. But I just think like during that time Dumbledore and Harry really build like a close bond. And it really tees you up for like when Dumbledore dies. Like it's such a sad thing. And so I think what they were trying to do is like almost like get Dumbledore down on like Harry's level, like a schoolboy level, and let them like have a more uh
Friendship
like
versus mentorship.
walls down conversation. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
just don't really think it like came across that way. Like I think it was kind of confusing.
Mhm.
Like, and
Yeah,
also
they
like,
didn't do it enough. Like it happened like twice where he was like asking about Hermione and Harry
yeah,
was like, no."
that's so
But then
weird.
that was like the only time that they like talked about stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
because
and like they didn't
I don't
need to
know.
talk about any of that. Like it's just
It was kind of inappropriate
they could have done like
for
other cute things with their conversations. But
yeah.
we talked a little bit about young Tom Riddle. Um
Mhm.
but we do get more context. I know I said they cut a bunch of it, but we do get context about a young Tom Riddle. And
Mhm.
like you learn that he lived in an orphanage and he was like picking on the other kids. And I mean, I think that they do a good job with what they left in there.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it was effective. What they shared was effective, but I feel like they could have shared more and it wouldn't have like taken away.
100%
from the
agree.
mystery or anything.
They could have made this a 3-hour movie. I would have watched it.
It honestly might have been a better movie if they had made it a little bit longer and included more detail. I'm generally for shorter films if they can be, but like if you need 3 hours, you need 3 hours, you know?
Very true.
We'd sit and watch it.
I would sit and watch it, that's for sure. Okay. Plot point number 3.
Number 3.
McGonagall determined to make Harry an Auror because remember, what's her name? Umbridge was like, he can't be an Auror. And she's like, I'll make him an Auror if it's the last thing I do. Convinces Harry to take potions, considering Slughorn will accept and exceeds expectations OWL. Harry brings Ron to class and they battle it out for the newer potions book in the cupboard. Harry ends up with the tattered old book, but this book was previously owned by someone named the Half-Blood Prince. I think it's really cool in this story that like that is such a central theme, honestly. That like Harry like gets enticed by this book and like he spends so much time reading it and like being good at potions, and it's like kind of just like a funny plot that's like added in
And
here.
Hermione's like pissed at him the whole time. She's like, you need to turn that
Yeah.
in. You're cheating.
Yeah, it's so funny. And she's right? Because he ends up
Yeah.
using Sectum Centra and like really hating
Harming
it
someone,
and
yeah.
regretting it. But it kind of, I think, it teaches you and Harry that like magic isn't necessarily always, even if it's well
Good.
intentioned, it's not always harmless. And like even like good stuff can be dark, and I don't know, I thought it was fun. And
Yeah, it was fun. And I'm not gonna lie, the whole time, like, you're led on to believe that the Half-Blood Prince is maybe Tom Riddle.
yes. Yeah.
You're,
For
like,
sure.
thinking that the whole time.
Yeah, because you're like there's 2 mysteries, right? Like young Tom, and like you're learning about him, and like you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out the Horcrux thing, and then you're also learning about the Half-Blood Prince, and like you're like they're related, and then you're like, oh shit, no, they're not at all.
Completely separate things.
But the Half-Blood Prince thing like is pretty relevant because like remember from the occlumency lessons from the last movie when like Harry dipped into Snape's memories and like he's friends with Lily and stuff, like, and he calls her a mudblood. Like that's so significant because like he was actually half blood. He wasn't even pure blood. And so like
Who are you to pick on someone
yeah.
else? Yeah. Not that anyone should be picked on for that at all, ever, but yeah.
Can we take a minute too to talk about just like while we're talking about potions and stuff, like the Slug Club? Like cuz I feel
Yes,
like
what the hell?
and we get Quidditch in this movie. Like there's a lot of like funny stuff.
Yes. Ron and the Quidditch. And when Harry fake gives him the liquid luck and he's like, let's do this, Harry. Like, and then he's like the Quidditch player of the year. And
And
he
Hermione's
did it all
so
by himself.
mad.
Well, she's mad because he forgets about her when he gets his fame and goes after
Well,
this other girl who's
she was mad at Harry before though, but he was like, but at least I'm not over here using like a confundus charm. Like he knows what she did at tryouts.
she's like, that's different. Yeah, she's cute. I love Hermione in this movie. I thought she was like peak Hermione. Well, she was really good in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
But also, I just want to take a minute for the Christmas party with the slug club.
Slug Club. Yeah, Slug Team.
The go team. The Christmas party was such a cute addition to this film, and I love that Harry took Luna because I'm a Harry and Luna stan. I don't understand Harry and Ginny. I don't understand them. I think they're sweet and they're cute and whatever, but I don't get it. And I also don't understand why Harry's not into Hermione, but Harry and Luna I stan, like 100%. And she wears the cutest dress ever. I would 100% wear that dress. And I will point out that dress took 2 months to make. 2
2
whole months.
months?
Yes.
That's
That is like the
crazy.
dress. That
They
is
do a
so
great job
cool.
with her costuming. Oh
She's
my
so
gosh.
cute the whole movie.
Well, the thing I was gonna say about Tom Felton is that I like when he gate crashes the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like too when Harry, like, ends up in the curtains with Cormac
And it's completely
McLadden.
sheer.
Yes, and
Everyone
it's like
gets
Hermione's
straight
on one
into
side and Cormac comes in on the other side and is like, "Have you," and, like, he hands him, like, the
the
what are
tray
they?
of whatever they are.
The something balls, right?
No,
Like,
no, no. Harry lied about what they were. They're
oh,
like
okay.
they're like these little things. I can't remember what they were called, but they're probably full of garlic or whatever, but Harry
Oh,
told Cormac or whatever that they were dragon balls.
yes.
And
Yeah.
then he threw it up.
Yeah, that was funny. I liked it.
Yeah, I
Cute.
liked that. I liked that addition. It was really cute. It was like a little bit of this was a very intense, like tense movie. The whole time is very tense. And so that
Mhm.
was like a little like break in the tension. It's like this cute little scene of
Yeah.
like a fun little party. And Neville's serving at the party. Like, what was that?
Well, he wanted to be involved. Just to be.
You can be the help, Neville. You don't
This
get to
is, like,
actually partake.
one of those things in the wizarding world that's like, this is literally so corrupt that, like, Dumbledore's just allowing this, like, slug club to exist where Slughorn, like, lets all, like, the coolest kids at
So
school, like, by
exclusive.
invite only come.
Yeah.
I guess it's kinda like a fr like one of the secret fraternities, like secret societies, like, at,
Hmm.
like, colleges today.
Like only the best students. Because Slughorn wants to associate himself with the best students and be known as the
Mhm.
one who like taught them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
dumb. But I
Love it.
loved it. It was cute. I would want to be in the slug club probably, but I wouldn't make it. I'd be Neville. Sure.
You would be Neville. No,
Courtney
you'd
would be
be
over here like, I had to ask the coolest guy in school who likes me. I don't even like him. And I'm over here like, anyone want some hors d'oeuvres?
Oh my god. Okay. Plot point number 4. Harry gets with
Spicy.
Ginny.
Mm,
I can't even write anything for this because Ginny and Harry in this movie are so cringy. I, like,
so
can't even watch
cringy.
it. It's
Also, so they
oh.
kiss in this movie. That's what you're referring to. They get with each other. They're kissing.
Yeah.
It is the most uncomfortable kiss, like on-screen kiss I've ever seen, and it looks awful. It looks like Daniel Radcliffe is a terrible kisser.
He does look like a horrible kisser. It's not any better than Cho Chang. And okay, let me tell you something too. This is gonna make you really upset. Do you want to know what their first kiss is supposed to be in the book, like in this movie, which they
Yes, tell
could have
me.
done?
Tell
They could
me.
have easily done it. So Ginny is like on the Quidditch team, and
Mhm.
Harry's on the Quidditch team, and
They're
they
like the
win.
co-captains.
They win a huge Quidditch match, and they come back in the common room and they have a party, and they like run in and they kiss each other after the Quidditch match because they're so excited. And then they're like, and
That would have been so much better.
I know. Instead of this like weird ass thing where she has to like he's like,
Bend down
close
to
your
kiss him.
eyes.
Blech.
He's too
They should have put
short.
him on a box. Like, I'm
He would
sorry,
have
that was
been like
rude. That was rude,
what
but
is the what is the guy who Nick Lachey? You know who that is? He like stands on boxes.
yes. And I
When
mean
he's like
Tom
mess
Cruise,
up.
all the big actors do.
Yeah, Tom
And
Cruise is the same height.
yeah, I'm sure in Saltburn they had Barry Keoghan on a box for a lot of it too because he
Oh, they
doesn't look that
had to
short.
have
But
that,
he's so small. We love a petite man, but he
especially
is really
compared to Jacob
small.
Elordi. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, crazy.
Oh my god.
Whew. What else we have to say about Ginny and Harry? The thing with the
That's
shoelace
it.
at the burrow, that was weird.
Yeah, wow, that was super uncomfortable.
And the thing I will say is everybody like blames Bonnie Wright for this abomination,
It's
which
not her fault.
she's not great, but we need to blame 2 people specifically,
The
and
writers.
they are named Steve Kloves, the screenplay writer, and David
Uh-huh.
Yates, the director.
Yeah,
They
they
are the
did her
ones who
dirty.
created this problem.
They did her dirty for sure. Like,
Yeah,
so bad.
I
So bad.
know.
Really, really bad, really terrible.
It's
And,
fine.
like, we didn't get enough. We saw Hermione in agony over Ron. We didn't get enough of Harry being upset about Ginny and her whatever boyfriend, Dean.
Yeah,
Like,
that would have been good.
we didn't get enough of that. We saw them, like, kiss in a corner booth one time, and, like, that was it.
I need to make some of these TikToks that are like, they're not TikToks. They're not cool enough for TikTok. They're on YouTube Shorts, and they're like these videos about like book characters versus movie characters, and
Mhm.
like this is like the prime example, like the love triangles, like how
Mhm.
they're portrayed in the books are so much more like you are in the head of a 16-year-old kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's funny. But Ron and Lavender, that was fun. 1-1.
Yeah, it was. Lavender got on my nerves. We would not be friends, I don't think.
She was crazy.
She was too much. She was
Way
too
too much.
much.
But what was realistic about it is that like she was crazy and Harry was just over there like, whatever, I'm not getting involved in this. He was like, you do you, Ron.
Not my problem.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5. Desperate to persuade Slughorn to share his true memory of Tom Riddle,
Mhm.
Harry takes his Felix Felicis potion, aka Liquid Luck, and ends up heading down to Hagrid's.
Mhm.
That was a wild scene.
That was a wild scene.
I loved that whole sequence where he was he was like Harry, and he was like, sir. You know, he's like, why don't you come with me?
Yeah, Harry was on something. Like,
On something.
because he was just like all of a sudden he was like, I think I'll go to Hagrid's. And they're like, no. What do you mean go to
He's
Hagrid's?
like, I'm going. It's the place to
I have
be.
a feeling about this.
I have a feel,
And he
you
just
know.
happens to stumble upon Slughorn, who gets something out of the endeavor and then gets drunk. And then Harry can ask him, like, what are the odds? Liquid luck.
Yep. You know when you just have a feeling about a place, like it's the place to be? No. Well, it is the
No.
place to be.
No. Yeah.
But he
But this,
does oh,
you're
go
going to say
ahead.
the same thing that I was going to say. So you go.
He does persuade Slughorn to get the
He does.
memory.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
he
does. And he
does.
gets it. He gets the cash, baby. And we're
Yes.
here for it.
He guilts him mad hard into getting it too. He's like, "What would my mother want you to do? Live in her legacy."
Oh, I forgot about the whole thing with Lily. I love that story. That is
And the
so sweet.
lily, I knew she died.
Hmm.
Oh, tragic. But the memory though, when he talks about the Horcruxes, that was pretty dark.
That was very dark. And you could see, like, in that memory on Slughorn's face how scared he was.
Mhm.
Because it's very obviously something that, like, they don't talk about. Like, we don't talk about that. I mean, it was in the restricted section.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think what's really evident about it is that he was so embarrassed to even share this story. He was so ashamed of it that he wouldn't
yeah,
even share it with Dumbledore. And like I think that goes to show like how serious this was. But pretty cool
very cool.
that he got it. That what they didn't do in the movie was like Dumbledore like gets mad at Harry. He's like Harry comes back for a lesson. He's like, "Do you got the memory yet?" And he's like, "No, I'm working on it." And he's like, "Harry, this is like the most important thing. He's like, do we even need to keep having these lessons, man? Because like we can stop having them.
This is the most important thing.
And Harry's like, I don't know. Like, I can't figure it out. It's crazy.
Oh.
Okay. Number 6. Harry goes with Dumbledore to acquire the locket. Harry journeys with Professor Dumbledore to the cliffs of Riddle's childhood to retrieve a Horcrux. Harry is instructed to do exactly as Dumbledore orders, and Harry ends up in the cave with Dumbledore, forcing him to drink a potion that causes Dumbledore to relive all his darkest memories and thoughts.
They didn't explain that was what was going on.
Well, they don't really explain it in the book either, but it's kind of implied that
Inferred.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
But it's really just like, you know, the enchantments that Riddle or Voldemort has in place to protect his Horcrux.
Mm-hmm.
The
I don't think I could
Inferi
have
are
done
cool
it.
though.
I don't think I could have made him drink it. Like,
Oh, no.
Harry was so
Immediately he was like,
strong.
you can't make me drink this.
I'd
Like
been like, okay,
begging.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I want to point out the cave where they were with the locket was giving me so many flashbacks to The Hobbit
Really?
and Smeagol in the cave when um Frodo, I guess, or is it Bilbo? I think it's Bilbo. When Bilbo finds the ring and has it in his pocket, he stumbles into this area, and
Wait, don't tell me.
he.
I've never seen that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it looks just like it. It
Okay.
literally looks just like it. And
Weird.
then the creatures coming up out of the water look like Gollum. They,
Weird.
yes, yes.
That's
It is
super
very
weird.
weird. It is very weird. Anywho,
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell are we? What movie am I watching? Like, it was.
I think that they filmed that at the Cliffs of Moher.
Oh, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I thought it was
Mhm.
cool. I
It
liked
was
it.
very cool. Very well done. And of course, Dumbledore saves the day. Harry gets
He's the
himself into a
greatest sorcerer in the
predicament.
world. I've already said this. It's crazy that
Yes,
Malfoy's trying to kill him.
musters up the strength. And yeah, that's it.
Harry, like the moment that he goes and like touches the water, I'm like, dude, don't
Come
do it.
on.
Don't do it. Don't listen to him. Come on. It's a trap. You're the sober one here.
Supposed to be. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was bad.
Oh shit, I forgot.
Oh.
I apologize, Daniel Radcliffe. I'm
Yeah,
just
sorry.
really
That was bad on us.
okay. Moving on to the
Moving
next one.
on.
They did get the locket. So, with locket in hand, Harry
Mhm.
and Dumbledore return to the castle, only to be intercepted by Draco and a horde of Death Eaters who entered the castle through the vanishing cabinet hidden in the Room of Requirement. Dumbledore tells Harry to hide, so he does. And Harry witnesses the killing curse hitting Dumbledore, not by the hand of Draco, but by Snape, who carries out the deed for him.
The agony. The agony. It killed me. Mostly because I've seen the rest of the movies, so I like know what's really going on, but it just like hurts your heart both because like both because Dumbledore is dying and he knows what's going on. He knows exactly what's happening and what's happened already. Like he's already put it together and you kind of get the idea that he knew this was coming and
Mm-hmm.
that like hurts your heart. And then also the fact that they're forcing Draco to do it,
Mm-hmm.
like that's evil. And then Snape having to like step in and do it for him, like, oh my god. I just
You're
I
very
can't.
perceptive. That was
I
all
can't.
very, very good. So
It makes me
that
so
to me
sad.
means that they like portrayed the important points of like what they needed to get across here.
Yeah, they
So
did. They did for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I liked the set of where they had this too. Like on the clock
Yeah.
tower, I
Yeah, it
guess.
looked great. And the atmosphere and everything
Yeah.
worked so, so well. Um, I will say, I have one thing to say, is that I think that Slytherin deserves 10 points for Draco's ability to fix the vanishing cabinet. I'm impressed. I thought Draco was useless, but he
Draco's
figured it
not
out.
useless. I mean, Draco was a prefect in the previous movie, remember? So like,
No, I don't remember that.
yeah,
Oh, but under Umbridge, that doesn't
well,
count.
he was made a prefect by Dumbledore. Like Dumbledore sends them letters and calls them prefects. Ron and Hermione were prefects.
I don't think that was in the movie.
I don't remember if it was explained or not. I think he had a prefect's badge on. But they definitely showed Ron and Hermione being prefects, right?
I don't know.
They did, because Harry was all upset about it.
I don't remember.
Well,
I don't remember that.
regardless, he's not worthless. He probably Slytherin's behind. Let's give him like 50 points. They need more than that.
Brittany!
That was like a pretty like
That was pretty
he got
cool.
he
That was
got
pretty
all
cool.
these Snape's a Slytherin, he killed Dumbledore. That's
Mhm.
insane.
Yep. Yeah, okay, 50 points. That's fine. That's fair. Whatever.
Do you think that you felt like really emotional about Dumbledore dying at the end of this movie?
No. I wasn't that emotional about it. And probably because I already knew it was coming. But I was just like, I don't know.
I don't think the already knew it was coming part means anything, because like I've told you before, every time I think about that damn Neville getting 10 points, I literally start crying. So I think it can happen regardless. And I feel like if they had spent a little bit more time, I don't think they could have done it with Michael Gambon, to be honest. I feel like he was not like lovable enough. Like he was too like rough. Like I feel
Mhm.
like he had the side of Dumbledore that was like, we've talked about this before, right? Like with the Goblet of Fire, when we were saying like if he
Mhm.
had like kept it together and stayed calm longer than when he did like the outburst at the end, that was like really great, it would have been more effective. So I think like we needed like a softer side of Dumbledore, make him like a little more lovable, build that relationship a little bit more between him and Harry in like a
Mhm.
more genuine way. And then I think we would have felt the like emotion and heartbreak at the end a little bit more.
Yeah, they also what I wish they would have shown more of was Harry's reaction.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get Harry's reaction. It goes close up on Snape. You see all of the Death Eaters and they start trashing the school. You don't really get Harry's reaction until later, but they should have shown
Mhm.
his reaction immediately. And I think that would have brought more emotion as well.
Mhm.
At least for me, because when I see other people, I'm very empathetic. When I see other people upset, like that gets me upset too. And so, yeah.
Yeah. There's also supposed to be like a bit more of like a battle, I think, at the end of this movie.
Oh,
And
they just like cut it out.
they kind of cut it out a little bit, because I think because they don't want it to be too like repetitive from from like the last movie. I don't know. I read that and was like, I don't really remember them cutting out anything integral, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like, how dare they cut out the battle?
How dare you?
I mean, I've been that person for sure, so.
Mm.
And then just like the end of the movie. Do you have anything else to say about Dumbledore dying?
No, that's it. He
Yeah.
just dies.
Yeah. The end of the movie, we get Dumbledore's funeral, kind of, right?
Yeah, okay, wait. I do need an explanation for this. What
Okay.
is the deal with the wands? Is that like a tradition? Is that like a funeral thing? They light up their wands or like what are they doing?
Girl, I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you.
It's just like for dramatic effect.
I feel like it's like when you go to a concert and everybody lights up their phone. They're like, hallelujah,
That's so sad.
hallelujah. That's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of
Yeah,
weird.
no, yeah, rare.
All right.
Okay. So we get the they're like in mourning Dumbledore. Okay.
And then I forget how it ends.
Harry ran after Snape and the Death Eaters and wanted to fight, was like ready to fight Snape. And he was like, that's when he does this is the first time that Snape is called a coward. And Harry says, he trusted you, fight back, you coward. And he doesn't. And then he doesn't let Bellatrix either, because he belongs to the Dark Lord. But he's protecting Harry, and he protected Draco. Like, I think Snape is truly a good person. I like Snape. I do. I really do enjoy him.
He's the best.
But yeah, he chases after them, and then they destroy Hagrid's house for whatever reason. And then they leave, I guess. And then Harry and Hermione and Ron are all like looking out into the sunset, like, it's time to go look for some Horcruxes. And that's it.
Yeah, a little out of order. They do the battle, and then they do the funeral, and then they look off in the sunset.
Okay. I got all the highlights.
We gotta go find some Horcruxes, I guess, now.
And they're just like staring into the sunset, like, time for another adventure. Our friend's dead, but adventure time.
But don't they say, like, we're not coming back to Hogwarts, too?
Harry says that.
Yeah.
Harry says, like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah. How could he?
Yeah, so we just talked about the end of the movie, and when I was watching, I wrote down quotes that for me would like sum up the movie. So I have a few that I'm just gonna read out, just like
I'm excited.
Read them out. That's like in order of the movie, that'll tell you like about the movie without telling you about the movie.
Okay. I'm very excited about this.
So the first one I have is,
wait, can you say the quote and I have to guess who said it?
Okay, yeah. This one's like towards the beginning. It's Hogwarts. What could be more safe?
It's one of the Weasley twins.
No, Harry says it.
Harry? Okay.
Because they're talking about like not going to Hogwarts because Mrs. Weasley thinks it's unsafe, and Harry's like, it's Hogwarts. What could be more safe?
Yeah. I remember that. So they're like sitting up there and like a little ball fire thing.
And then once they get to Hogwarts, this quote, why is it he's always covered in blood?
McGonagall says that.
It's Ginny.
Oh. Damn it. I knew it was a female. Okay.
Yeah. And then in the same scene, in the end, their greatest weapon is you.
Wait, that was in the same scene? Lupin.
It's Dumbledore. They're at the school because Harry comes running in after Draco beat the shit out of him on the train.
Yes. Oh, we're so early on in this movie. Okay, continue.
Early.
Continue.
Okay. So then the next one I have, why is it when something happens, it is always you three?
That's McGonagall.
Okay,
I knew there was a line like that.
When they find the girl that was cursed or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Katie Bell.
This one's two people talking back and forth. The first person says, what happens if you break an unbreakable what happens if you break an unbreakable vow? And the second person says, you die.
I know Ron says you die. And my guess is that Harry says what happens if you break an unbreakable vow. Yeah.
And then this one's easy. These girls, they're gonna kill me.
Ron.
Yeah. After the love potion mess, which he didn't really talk about, but I thought it was funny. And then the last one I have is, I already said it, but he trusted you. Fight back, you coward.
Harry to Snape.
Yeah.
Wow, that was such a fun game and a good description of the movie.
I know.
Good job.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Thank
okay,
you.
I think it's time to rate the movie. All right, Liz, we'll get your rating first. And as a reminder, we rate on Letterboxd, 0 to 5 stars, half-star increments.
Yeah, so this one was my lowest rating so far of the series, and I gave it 3.5 stars.
Okay. Why do you think it got the lowest rating?
It's kind of like a setup movie. It's like a lot of setup for the finale, which was necessary, but it just didn't have, like, as much substance. There was a lot of cringiness going on and not in a good way.
Yes.
So, that's
Way too
why.
much cringiness.
I also watched this in multiple parts, which is the same that I had to do with, I think, the 3rd one. So,
Mhm.
but this one got a lower score than the 3rd one, so.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. So, I mean, 3.5 is still, like, a pretty good score.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's better than average.
Yeah. I gave this movie a 3 star.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I just can't. The cringiness gets me, and I can't, get over the Harry Ginny mess up. It's so bad. It just ruins this movie for me, to be
Yeah.
honest. And, like, I don't know. There's so much that's, like, good about this movie, like, when we're talking about it, but, like,
Mhm.
I remember when I was watching it, like, a lot of the movies for Harry Potter, like, I am paying attention or I'm, like, quoting the movie, and, like, this one, like, not the same vibe. I was like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
why is it like this?"
Yeah, I don't
So
know. Yeah, there's a lot they could have done differently in this movie. It was still really good. I
mhm.
still enjoyed watching it, but
I
there's
agree.
little things that they could have done, like the opening scene or having, like, I don't know, a little bit more of an action scene maybe that would have made it more exciting, or giving us more information throughout versus, like, giving us a little bit at the beginning and then, like, everything at the end, like, I don't know.
Like, all the pensive journeys that they cut from the script.
Yeah, that probably was only, like,
Yeah.
15 minutes worth of content,
I
like.
know, it would've been so and it would've fixed all the a lot, not all, but a lot of the problems I think we mentioned, right? Like, think about if you got so much more, like, buildup of Dumbledore and Harry, like, how
Mhm,
much more impactful Dumbledore's death would have been at the end.
mhm. Like, in, Prisoner of Azkaban, you get the whole series of Harry training with Lupin, and
Mhm.
that builds so much because they have these sweet little talks and, like, Lupin's doing so much for Harry, and in this one, like, yeah, Dumbledore's doing a lot for Harry, but I don't know, it's just different.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think they could have done that whole relationship better.
Also, we have said this already, but Ian McKellen would have done it better.
He would have. Rip Richard
All
Harris.
right. So we do have a couple write-ins, so we'll do those real quick.
Okay.
The first one is from a new fan of ours and a new friend. It's at Lee Rock Films,
Mhm.
and they said used to dislike it, now it's one of my favorites. Very
Okay.
cool.
Maybe I could be that person one day.
Mhm. Um, we have another new one. We haven't shared one from this person before, but it's at Tom's Movie Madness.
Okay.
And they said all the stuff with Snape is fantastic, partly due to Alan Rickman. Dumbledore's death still hurts.
Oh, well,
Feel
maybe it
that?
made some people emotional.
um, and then this one we've had write in featured from the movie Buff Dublin before, but they
Mhm.
said it's the forgotten movie of the franchise. No one ever remembers it. It's not that it's bad, but always forgotten, which is fair.
Such a shame.
I know. I know this could have been like one of the better movies, could have
Mhm.
been, but
But it's crazy because it has, like, really good things about it, like the cinematography. Like, it's just
mhm. Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. And then the last one I have, because my husband loves to troll us,
Mhm.
and so I'm actually reading them and embarrassing him, but he said, "Luna Lovegood, fine AF." So.
Well, you did say you wanted to be Luna Lovegood, so that tracks. Okay.
Oh
Please
my
tell
gosh.
us what the internet thinks of this movie,
Okay,
Liz.
so the letterbox average is a 3.6 out of 5, so kind of on point for where we're feeling it is also.
A little bit
The
higher.
tomato meter is 84%, which is really high
That's very
in
high.
my opinion. The audience score is a 78, which is okay, but probably higher than it should be. IMDb is a 7.6, also high. And then
Okay.
88% of Google users liked the movie, which I'm going to put this out there. Google only asks you if you liked the movie. It's like, yes or no, did you like it? So this is not really telling us like it got an 88% score. It's like 88% of people said like, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that's so interesting too. Because like IMDb always pops up and is like, will you rate this movie out of 10? And I
Mhm.
never do it. I always skip it. So I wonder like what subset of people are like doing that. But I also am not like I go on IMDb all the time, but I don't like have an account or like log in or anything. So okay, well, if y'all have been keeping up with us so far, you know that our good friend Holly, who's never read or seen the movies, has been watching along with us and giving us her review. And she does like her 7 key takeaways too. It's super cute. So I'm gonna throw that in here and then y'all can watch Holly and see what she has to say.
Hey y'all, it's Holly, and I'm back with another week of a Harry Potter review. So this week I watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and I have some thoughts and I have a rating. So this movie had a theme, at least for me. It had a theme that I took away, and I feel like maybe if I had have read the books before, I would have maybe a different opinion, but for me, this movie just screamed like teenage, high school. Like when I looked at my notes, like most of them are about relationships. I didn't really have any other thoughts. And I guess because like as a first time viewer, like all I could think about and all I could focus on was like they are just so angsty and they're so hormonal and they're so emotional. It felt like I was watching like a really intense like teen drama. Like throughout the whole movie they're just like sighing and they're oh my gosh and everything's just so dramatic. Like they're just so high school and teenagery, and it's like it feels so over the top when you watch it, but I remember I remember being that age and feeling exactly like this. So I feel like that's like all my takeaways from this movie. I didn't really notice like any big new key magical creatures that like stood out to me. I feel like they've done a good job in the last few movies of introducing them. So this time I was like ready for anything. I was ready for the potions. I did really like the lucky potion, and my favorite part I think in the whole movie was when Harry gave some in quotes to Ron before the Quidditch match, but he didn't actually do it. It just was to give him confidence, and I liked that. But kind of going off that, I thought it was funky how Ron then becomes like this super popular kid, and like never would have pictured that from the first movie. Never would have thought we would get here with Ron, but his character development is just something. I thought I had to was like sharing a love potion with these kids, like teaching them that when they're already hormonal and they're already like just in that like relationshipy phase of their life where they're just obsessed with wanting to be in love and liking each other, and like giving teenagers a love potion that makes them obsessed. I just thought that was a little irresponsible on the teachers. That part was just wild that they did that. I also think it's funny that Harry and Hermione are both like in love with a Weasley. Like, who would have thunk that? Who would have thunk that? The language in this movie, I felt like, I mean, they've used a lot of, Old English language or, throughout the whole time. But this time I really felt like some of those words were like thrown out there a lot. Like snogging. Ugh, I hate that word, snogging. It's so gross. Snogging. And knickers. Ooh, I don't like those words, but I just felt like I heard them a lot more in this movie. just like the overall obsession with relationships was, at first I wanted to say overkill, but then, like I said, like, it's real. That's like where they're at in life. Like, that's the phase. You know, they've been at Hogwarts for 6 years. They've known each other for 6 years. They're like at that age. And so even though it was cringy to watch as an adult, I feel like they did it justice. Another notable scene that just kind of, like, the kids run this place. You know, like, the kids run this whole thing. And I know that's like a theme in like a lot of movies. But when Ron was sick in the bed, and Hermione's like by his bedside, like holding his hand, and then his like little girlfriend is like, "Oh my gosh, like, is he okay? Has he been asking for me?" And then like Ron kind of like comes to, and he's like, "Hermione," and then the girlfriend like gets upset, and then Hermione and they like have a little tit for tat, and they're like back and forth. And the part that got me about that is that the adults are just standing in the back letting this happen. They're just like, young love. And then they make a comment like, "Oh, to be young and in love," or something. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it is coming from the kids' perspective. So like, they think they're the whole world. But like, as an adult, I don't think I'm sitting back letting all this happen. Okay, my last like really key point, and I noticed this. It kind of took me to like halfway through the movie to notice, but Harry's eyebrows are so bushy. So bushy. Like, overkill. I don't know if that's like, was that like just the phase back then? Was that characteristic of the book? Was that just how the actor looks and like they just kept the bushy eyebrows? I don't know, but the eyebrows were a bushy, and I was not a fan. They were too much. His like glasses were like taking over, and then his eyebrows were like caterpillars on his eyes. Okay, those are my thoughts. My rating for this movie, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was a good movie. It kept me entertained. I really do, like, I felt like for this one, I didn't notice, like, the magical storyline as much. Which, if I watched it again a second time, I would really, like, focus on that. And I think if I had read the books before, that might have helped. But for me, as a first-time adult watcher, I really, like, was invested in the characters' stories and what was going on with them. So that's my rating. I enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching.
Okay, so I have got our standings.
I feel like Gryffindor didn't gain
one.
enough points this time. I'm glad I gave Slytherin their points too, because they're still trailing.
I know.
Okay, so I'll read it.
I know.
So in last place, still Slytherin with 185 points. In third place, can't count. We've got with 215 points, Ravenclaw house.
Mm-hmm.
In second place, somehow I feel like they're gonna slip a win in the next recording, but they've currently have 300, and that's Hufflepuff.
Uh-huh.
And then with 335 points in first place is my very own house, Gryffindor house. Yes. And we're in first place. Did I mention that? Okay.
As a reminder,
Mm-hmm.
you at home listening can earn points for your house by commenting on our episodes on YouTube. So you can comment on each of our episodes one time and just let us know in your comment which house you're in, and we'll tally up some points. I think we said we were going to give 5 points per comment. But if you comment too many times, you won't get any points. So or maybe negative. I don't know.
And the winning house will receive bragging rights for an entire year.
Yeah, and we might make a little house cup We haven't decided
Elizabeth, every single week you go off script and say we're making a house cup. And it's like,
I love
girl, I'm
crafts.
not making a house cup. You can make a house cup.
I will make a little house cup, okay? And whichever house wins, I will post it on Instagram and I'll keep it on my shelf or something. I don't know.
So Elizabeth gets the house cup, regardless. Hufflepuff gets the house cup. So this is all a moot point, basically. Is what you're saying.
I'll make one for each of us. Whoever
Okay.
wins, we'll have to display that house.
Okay.
Here.
Fun.
So next week we're discussing, surprise, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. We're doing a 2-week double feature. Since there's 2 movies, we're going to do 2 episodes back to back. And we're having another podcasting duo on, James and Anthony from Raiders of the Lost podcast. We're super excited to have them on. They have recently, I guess not super recently, but they've also done the Harry Potter movies. So if you want to go check that out ahead of this episode, we will link their stuff in the show notes.
Awesome. We're very excited. So be sure to subscribe and follow on all the things so that you don't miss it. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And I heard that Google Podcasts and YouTube are combining. So maybe one day I can stop saying that.
Yeet.
Okay.
All right. That is it for today's episode. We hope you loved it, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.